Hey everybody, welcome to the Birds and Bots podcast episode 4. Today is a completely impromptu episode, so I don't have any other information. I'm sitting here with my friend Vanessa. Last name is Lohmann. Mehak, last name is Sidhu. And my new friend Steve, last name is Kuiack. We're just sitting at the den right now, so this actually might be a complete bomb depending on the noise. So my apologies, but we're just going to let it play in the background, and this is kind of the whole point of random conversations going along as the podcast plays. That's it. Now we just talk and pretend like it's not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I totally agree with what you said, because I suck at math too, and when I had to learn the algorithms and stuff, I was like, I'm never going to use that.
What is a calculus, bro?
Yeah, like for me, when I study history,
Yeah.
That's how it was in school, that age period when I really got interested in it, and I owe it all to my teachers, because, they can either make it or break it.
Yes.
The love of the subject for you. So the way she would explain a topic, when I was studying, like, Indian history,
Yeah.
I would get transported back. I would see, the story in front of my eyes, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I would wait every day for that class.
That's awesome.
And everybody would be like, why are you
History
learning like
sucks.
years, and who died, and which battle, and what? I'm like, no,
This is our history.
Yeah, and you need to know that. How can you appreciate the future if you don't have, a realization for what happened in the past?
Bro, I just need my cheesy poofs. Game of Thrones, that's all I want.
But I would say what I thought was interesting, growing up in Portugal, they would, of course, give me like the history of Portugal, which is one perspective. Then I came to Canada, it's a complete different
Like
perspective.
nationalism,
Like,
the Poles
yeah.
conquered the world, or
It's
the
just
Portuguese.
Yeah, it's just completely different. And then you go to Germany, and of course you just have like Nazi everywhere, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like totally different perspectives. Because the Portuguese are so proud, because exactly the world was split between Spanish and Portuguese, and that's
The
so
treaty,
big.
what was it? The Treaty of Toledo?
Yeah, and nobody, like in Germany, nobody cares. It's like, okay, First, Second World War, those are the interesting things you need to learn.
Yeah.
So the focus is so different.
Even Canadians always so interesting. I mean, we're now, like, I don't even know if we're now doing it in school, but we're talking about the issue that's happened to our first. Are you Canadian?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the First Nation issue and all the issues. Hey, Tarika, welcome to the podcast. It's on right now, just so you know. Tarika's our server, and she walked away.
Now she's only getting 5%.
No tits.
2.5.
For that
Yeah. It's just cool. I was reading like encyclopedias when I was like 6. It's just reading through them like,
That was
so
my
cool, right? It's so good.
I
Like, oh,
always, I argued. I was like, if you haven't read the encyclopedia, something you need to. Like, I think everybody should at least once in their lifetime, at least open from end to finish like an encyclopedia. It's like you
I
can
started at the
let
beginning
people
and I
do what
never
they
did.
want to do. I love it.
But like, I
Don't censor encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Allow the people to read them if they want to.
It's like everybody should have their cup of tea to enjoy, right? If it's not their cup of tea, they shouldn't. Like, but nobody should force upon someone like, oh, you don't go through this. It's only after I went through everything, I realized, okay, this is something I enjoy reading.
Yeah.
This is my interesting areas, and this is not something I enjoy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the encyclopedia comes into as a great tool, because it gives you that little basic
Context of the world.
Yeah. So you don't sound complete dumb when you talk to somebody and you have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, you're from Germany? Are you from East or West? Are you from like what province are you from? Or the whole culture's a bit blank.
No, we don't just drink beer. We have other
We're very
things.
emotional. Beer's cheap though.
But you do other things while drinking beer, don't you? We also drink a lot of wine.
In the Rhineland,
Yes, that's where I'm from.
Alsace, Lorraine, which was touchy
No,
topic.
like, I love the region where I live because there's so many things around wine that are just to bring people together, no matter if you're young or old. So many fairs and
You're a
stuff.
Westerner, I guess.
What?
You're a Westerner.
Yeah.
West Germany.
Yeah.
More on France or more on Netherlands?
France. We're like very close, like half hour from France. Wow. Yeah.
Isn't everything a half hour from France and Europe?
No, not really. No, but I like my region.
So how's the weather like there? Is it colder?
No, it was.
How about that weather?
It's actually the same. For example, it's Seattle. It's like very similar.
Temperate. Very temperate. Most of Germany has that temperate between like 0 and 20, right?
Well, but this
climate
degrees.
change, bro.
Yeah. This year you actually felt it. Because I feel like in the past year it was like a myth. Oh, climate change. Who knows about it? I've heard about it. But this year, everybody who just heard about it felt it too.
But then here's my question. I'm sorry, I'm being the person who asked something right now.
Sure. No, it's not. That's not. Actually, this is a different episode. This is the whole point. It's conversational based. I don't want to be a host. I never even wanted to be a host, but that's kind of what I'm doing.
Here's the question. Do you guys think climate change is real? Or is it like just really exaggerated and blown out of proportion? Like, what do you think?
So, I believe that it's real. Do I believe we know the causes? That's because the Earth does go through cycles.
Let me rephrase the question.
Oh.
Do you think man-made climate change is real?
All right. I mean, I think we do have something to do with it. Are we like the sole cause, like by cars and stuff like that? No, because
Methane, cows, mostly from what I hear.
cows. I heard ships too. There's no regulation on ships, and they're like thousands of horsepower diesel engines. They're
Well, the ocean
No, but
trade
it's
is a
also
big
like
problem
the-
too.
the-
The trade of tankers is the biggest.
Yeah.
And the destruction of forests and stuff to balance out,
Carbon,
for example, everything that we were doing bad, and they, that we're just doing everything bad. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't think that at all. I think we have a news cycle that makes us believe the world is getting way worse, and we do have a climate change that we have to deal with. But like, there's a lot of amazing stories going on that don't get publicized in the same matter as the world's ending. We have that in philosophy. I think it's similar. It's your death drive. That's why you hack a dart, because you want to drive really fast. That you just want to see the horror. You want to do like violence because it's that violence going on, right?
But I feel like it just seems like that.
Seems.
It seems what?
It seems.
It seems, yeah.
Like it seems. Like you believe it seems.
No, but it seems to be that more news are negative because before nobody wanted to talk about it. Because of course the industry wasn't going to say their products are bad, but now that it's like coming to a point, everybody's talking about it because we've come to a point if we don't talk about it, it's never going to get any better.
Tariq and I had a great conversation on this same topic the other day, and we talked about like how climate change in today's time it's almost become a religion. Like if you're out and if you say anything against it, people are gonna look down upon you like, oh, are you crazy?
I got scared to say it, but like I was gonna bring up I read a book by a science fiction writer. He's actually one of the world's leading physicists too. Like his name is on a bunch of things that invent physics stuff. I can't even remember his name right now. He is advocate against climate change, not because he doesn't think it's real, but he believes that throughout history, the heretic hasn't always been wrong. And sometimes, like Galileo was a heretic in science for believing that the Earth was a heliocentric rather than a geocentric. It's not that I'm not a scientist at all, so I have no clue on climate change. I'll pass the laws to fight it if that's what people are saying. They're smarter than me. But it's good to be a critic of the world and don't just believe everything people tell you to an extent. Like maybe it is randomly. I'm not thinking that, but I'm not a scientist, right? And I haven't done stats. I haven't done the studies of how science works, the climate, the albedo. It's a trillion things, and it's out of my field. I'm a political scientist, so.
I mean, I don't agree with those people who go like all radical or you can't use this, you can't use that, don't do this, because I think that's not gonna, change a huge amount of things. But I think just to be aware of little things, like is it really necessary to buy this bag, or do I have 10 million?
Increased taxation too, I find. That's like one of the benefits of taxation.
Yeah.
You've got a plastic bag, it should be like $1, not 5 cents.
Yeah. Because I think, like, for example, like if I go here to the superstore, you get 10 bags for like a small grocery shop. In Germany, you have to pay for each and every bag. You have to pay so much.
Some places are starting to do that here.
Yeah.
Even here, how many people do you think make the conscious effort to know that, like at my house, I know I have like superstore bags, like hundreds of them. Because every time I go, I forget to bring my own bag and I have to get one. How many people make the conscious effort? I know I do if I like remember to do it. That I will carry my own bags with me.
Yeah.
And not
So for me, it's like when I know, okay, I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I'm gonna, do a grocery like for the whole week or for 2 weeks. Then I carry my bag or like something. If I'm like just like shopping and just occasionally go to the store, okay, I'll buy a bag. But it's just that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be completely radical and say, gonna use any bags ever again. But just be a little bit more conscious. Do I really
Yeah,
need
like,
3 of them,
like,
or is maybe one enough, or
yeah,
maybe
at
can
the
I
same,
bring more?
at the same time, the same goes for like when you brush your teeth, right? Like when you're brushing, a lot of people forget to like turn off
Oh,
the
yeah.
tap. You know, if you can just keep remember small little things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it will make if everybody does that, but at the same time, it's on you of how
Yeah.
you make those smaller
Yeah.
activities in your daily life to like make it. But at the same time, as a whole, I feel like whatever is done is done. Like you can't really stop from anything that's gonna happen.
The big changes can also or can only make like the policies and stuff. They can only, like he said, put taxes on stuff.
Yeah.
Like the single person can't make that big of a difference, but you just can be a little bit more conscious about what you use, how much you use,
Hell yeah.
and what you need. That's
So
all.
like given the previous like periods of life that we have read about, like the different
Like the
forms
halogen, the
yeah,
other
the different
eras.
yeah, that
Yeah.
existed on Earth. Like they all had their shot at life. You know, they existed for a number of a period of time, right?
I did walk in on this. Are we just talking about climate change still?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it just, something happened, there was something, and maybe it was just nature's way of like bringing an end to it so it could start off again. So I feel like the period that we're in right now, it's gonna happen no matter what we do. Yes, we're not gonna like completely go out and start polluting like rivers. Like, yeah, it's gonna die anyways. Let's just keep burning.
Well, that's a bandwagon effect. That's a bandwagon effect that can happen if we don't
Yeah.
fight it. Like, polling issues with bandwagon. That affects everything, right? Like, oh, well, the world's dead anyways. Might as well just throw my shit everywhere.
Yeah, you can't do stuff like that, but at the same time, somewhere I'm a believer that it's gonna happen. Like no matter what
I feel like it's frustrating as a single person to think, okay,
Fatist,
if I
yeah.
can if I stop using plastic, doing this, I can change the world. I don't think so. I think it has to start way above politics and industry saying, okay, whatever you put your garbage at, how many plastic you can use for your products, it has to start way up. But for that to
starts
happen,
from the bottom.
Yeah, but for that to happen, there needs to be way more interest and stuff from the bottom, but so that there just needs to be a
Just
time
5%.
change.
It's always the advocates.
Yeah.
Like, we worry about feminism, all these things that are going on. It's only a minority of people that are the loud-spoken people that cause any change. I mean, the hippies was only 5% of the whole population, but that dominated the whole idea of the 60s. So I mean, it's a small group. Feminism, real feminists, the strong people who write about why feminism is needed, and they make what is needed. Not I'm a feminist by the idea, but I'm not the guy who sat down and is let's make what feminism should be. There are people doing that, and that's only probably 5% of feminists who are making these policies and how the world can be better. But for climate changers, you just need some people who are shouting out how we can do it, what we can do, what business can do, what
But
you can do.
It still has to be the people in power to actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So the single point of view, you can have those people who are interested and who want to see, but if you don't have anyone who has power or who has the possibility to kind of enhance it and just do it, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And because there's with climate change, there's just so much money involved from people who are in power who don't want to give up that money. That's where it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's what I think. Somewhere climate change is being used as political gimmick. You know what I mean?
I've got a booming voice. I know it's gonna be more on your side than mine. Yeah.
I feel all these protocols, in the fact that the developed countries, as the developing countries, put in more when they need to realize that you guys have had a long shot at using those natural resources, the fossil fuels. Why don't you give the same chance for the developing countries to use it? And then once they've reached that quota, that level, then they can also start
Maybe.
putting a tap on it. I don't know, America, compare that to India, has been independent for a long, long time, and India is still only 65 years old, right? And you need to give India the same chance to use their fossil fuels so they can.
I think the question
but
is, do you know the trolley
okay.
program? The trolley problem? Or are you gonna kill 5 people or 1 person? So you gotta, so it's there's a trolley going, or a train, whatever you want to call it, and you're sitting at a thing and you're watching it randomly happen. And there's a train going down the road, and there's 5 people on one trolley. Maybe they're construction workers, and there's 1 person on the other, like a child ran across the guy's ball. And you have the choice to stop the thing. What's morally right? To kill the 1 person or kill the 5? And if you know that climate change is coming, is it morally better thing to think about the future generations? It's terrible what sucks for stopping Indian or other developing nations from having their access to develop. But if you don't stop climate change, you might be killing 5 people instead of the 1 by stopping them develop right now. You might even end humanity if we don't make it through this. So the trolley problem, and I don't know what's right. There is no right answer in the trolley problem.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to kill? If you allow the developing countries to develop with fossil fuels, you might kill everyone on the planet. But if you let 1% of the population do the stupid American lifestyle, but we are getting better. We are solar power and all that shit's getting better. We are getting way better. It's not this. You're born in this period. Talk to your mom. Talk to your grandma. Dude, solar panels, which weren't even a thing 50 years ago.
Yeah, but what do we have now that they didn't have back then?
Electric powered cars. I mean, Tesla has solar packs for your homes now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of homes are just geothermal.
But who can afford that?
Well, there's in a political science sense. I don't know about you. I've been having a lot of my classes. You have to imagine there's political elites fighting each other, and there are some political elites that actually believe against climate change. It's not like these oil people are the only people with power. Like, have you heard of the Koch brothers?
Yeah.
They're the second largest private firm in the United States, with like $150 billion in assets a year. They're fossil fuel companies and petro shit, but they don't dominate the whole U.S. And there's other companies and other rich people. Bill Gates is against this shit, and so is like Apple and Jeff Bezos. There's a lot of competing elites of rich. You can't see them. The oil is powerful, but so is software in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
I guess that's just the hard.
It's yes.
So complicated. And it's frustrating.
Just live your life.
Yeah.
Let other people.
And then when your kid looks at you and asks you why didn't you change something, you're like, fuck.
Why did you change something? Why did your parents have you? You're one of the most expensive climate change issues in the world, child. You know how expensive it is to raise you?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna die. That screen is blowing up. Look at it. See that little fog? Like on the screen?
Oh.
It's like smoke foggy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's gone. Sorta. That's a screen issue. That's not a camera issue. It's good to see you, friend.
Nice to be
Good to
here.
hang out with friends. Nice to meet you, Steve.
Again?
Yeah.
I can't believe that this week passed. It's like
I know, it was meant by
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I came here Sunday. Well, Tuesday was a little bit wasted on our way.
Nice.
It was such a long drive. Oh my god. But at least I got to see winter.
Winter?
She got to see
Yeah.
Yeah. We drove to Golden.
Oh, man.
It was
Through
crazy.
Rogers Pass and
Talk
stuff
about
like that.
climate change. It was snowing
Yeah.
so bad.
It was snowing here a couple days ago, too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was the day we left.
Same
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
2 weeks earlier in Germany, it was like 33 degrees. I was like with tank top and stuff, and then I sent the picture to my mom, and she was like, "What? It's snowing over there?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Here's the thing. I'm taking an astronomy class right now because I have to take sciences. So I found out seasons only happen because of the Earth's tilt and the sun. So like the solar radiation, the way it hits us. But like, how would climate change affect our seasons if the only thing that affects our seasons is the axis? At least in astronomy. So I guess it would affect the atmosphere. in some
Yeah,
sense.
that's how you get it.
Yeah. Albedo and all that shit,
That's
melting
why the
ice.
sun is like hotter, or felt like hotter, because
It's the angle, yeah. It's interesting though. If we were like this, we'd have the same temperature all year.
You just learned that, or?
I mean, I might have learned it when I was younger.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, it's like, I remember that from like grade 9 science. That shit was awesome.
I just didn't give a crap at the time.
But it's like, as kids, we were like, we couldn't make sense of like the fact that, oh, for me, I remember because my relatives used to live abroad in like Canada or America, and they'd be like, it'd be night there and day in India, and I would be like so like
Confusing.
flabbergasted. How does that happen?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Like they almost live on a different planet or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or like it's
Growing
winter in
up.
Australia when it's not here, or like
Yeah.
no, you're just messing with
Yeah.
me. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Sun in Brazil when it's Christmas? No way. It has to be white.
But then there's still people living now
How much are
in
these?
my country still don't know this. They're like adults. You know, that's how education hasn't reached them. That they don't even know that. They find that whole notion like absurd. Like, how can it be a day here at night
But I think
somewhere else?
that's also the reason why a lot of the
It's not even on here, actually. What am I talking about?
countries are able to take advantage
It's the
of
same thing. I don't think
the non-industrial countries because people don't know what they can actually make out of what they have. So they just have somebody coming from abroad say, "Oh, you have that, I want that, I'll give you money for that." They don't know that if they would use it and produce it, they would make like a long-term
they would
something.
be able
They
to
just
get-
don't know, and they just see, "Oh, I need money to feed my family. This guy's giving me money for
I
it,
wouldn't
so I'm
recommend
just
that.
gonna take it." And then they take advantage out of
They
it
don't
and
have,
they
they
produce
don't
it.
have the
Oh,
knowledge
yes.
to know how to like use that
Thank you.
skill they have to mass produce it or promote it
I'm
outside
with
on a
you.
factory scale.
Exactly.
Oh.
They just see, okay, I need to feed my family right now.
Whatever they see is what they get.
Exactly. And of course that the one that's buying it is not gonna tell them, by the way, you would make
They
a
wanna
much
look at
better
their
deal
profit.
if you worked on it. So I guess that's a big like I think in the Western countries where like education is like normal, I think it's hard for you to picture that because it's like, oh, but you know that they're taking advantage of you and stuff. But in those countries, I don't think they do.
That's the
They
same
just
thing.
live to survive,
That's
and if somebody gives them money for what they have, and for them it's normal to have it, they're just gonna sell it.
That's how the Britishers found their stronghold in India. You know, when they first set foot here, it was because of the spice trade, right? Like India was great in their spice, like produced the best quality spice. And the Britishers, that can you believe it? It was with one small spice shop that they set in Madras in South India, they ended up colonizing the whole country because that's exactly the skill they used. They
Divided
made
culture,
their
too.
way through slowly, very skillfully, very tactfully,
Very true.
using the local people's talent, their skill. Like they used to grow this dye that they used to color fabric. It was called indigo, which was grown in the fields, right? They made so much money out of that. All the fields were grown in India. The laborers, they got nothing for it. The amount of like work they did on that, and it was all used to dye their cotton, which they produced in India, but sold for like 10 times more in England. And the money, the people who make it, the Indians, they got nothing for
They
that.
still get nothing for it. Where do you
That's
think
how
our
it
clothes
works right
come
now.
from?
Yeah.
Bangladesh and Thailand and
Yeah.
Vietnam and India. I don't know about Pakistan. Does Pakistan make clothes like that?
Well, then Pakistan and India was the same, right?
Well, I know now. Even now, I mean, like this is still the.
Probably,
Where's
yeah.
your shirts from, everybody? Because I know this is
China.
Southeast Asian.
Yeah.
It's mostly made in Bangladesh, made
Yeah.
in Sri Lanka, India.
Textiles are still not really China, right? China's mostly manufactured goods
Yeah.
rather than like textiles.
Yeah. Actually, I bought a new set of sheets today, and it was like, oh, California cotton. It's made in India. It's like, great, It's great that they're.
If you think
The
about it,
design
they,
is
like
from
the products
California.
are shipped from
California,
one place to
but-
another because the working hand is cheaper there, and then it's shipped back just to sell it like more expensive. Where I'm thinking like the way that this does for like because we were talking about like air pollution and stuff. The way that if there was a tax, like you said, on air pollution, they wouldn't do it. They would say, okay, it's cheaper to just
So
produce it here
I don't
and
see
leave
that
it
happening
here.
at
Well,
all.
that's
Yeah,
what
but-
colonization is, right? Colonization means when you have completely exhausted the resources in your country, then now what you do is you go to another country to use their resources.
Oh man,
And that's
England wasn't even out of resources. They just had the power and tech to do
then
it.
during
Yeah.
the industrial age is when they became the biggest colonizers
Yeah.
of the world because the industrial revolution.
It's the white man's burden to lift these civilized tribes up to God's standard.
Yeah. It ain't easy.
It ain't the white man's burden.
And whatever they do, it was God who made them do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's more complicated than that too, though. There's a lot of people that have good ambitions with terrible processes.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a lot of things like that too.
But at the same time, people like they just talk about the bad, right? The bad side of what happened. Same for Germany, like.
Oh my God, so
I don't know.
let's not start there.
Yeah, no. But
Let's
like
go down
in my country, I'll focus on that. Like nobody tries to focus on actually we got some really good things out of the Britishers having
Stop
ruled us.
burning wives with their dead husbands
Yeah,
because you had
like
to.
that was an end. They made sure that ends, that practice ends. Child marriage, they made sure that was outlawed, And when it came to bringing the actual proper Western education they started with. Like the education back, it was like old school style, you know? Like nobody learned about science.
Check out
But I also
Niels
think, like,
Ferguson.
what
He has a
you
whole book.
said,
He has a whole book on England.
what they heard,
And,
for example, that
Assuming you're a recording
the
boss.
indigo, that the farmers
so.
would know
One
how
second,
to
one
build
second.
naked
One second, one second.
and then they would go to the Western.
Okay.
That's the thing. Just because
I'm
the
gonna go pop.
Western.
And we're back. If I can do this right, I actually saved the file. And I don't know how to put two files together, but that might be my challenge for tonight, I guess.
You just Google it. You just be
It
like,
could.
can
There's
how to
YouTube
work-
Stuff to
tutorial.
do. I have stuff to do tonight.
And you have a software right there. That's how I turn my PDFs from JPG and
Yeah.
compressed and all that.
It's a lot of work.
It's always fun. I remember the days when I had to Google how to put page 3 only on the third page of your paper so that the first pages didn't count.
Yeah.
Now I'll be like, how do you do that? Oh, you have to press this button, then you have to put the click on here, you have to join these pages.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The old days. Oh god.
Technology's cool though. It's useful, easy, ish. Google it, which is nice.
So, you tell me about your life experience. In basic,
My whole life.
no, like not all.
Do you have a question in
but,
particular?
Like I want to know, like, what were the important, like the most, like life-shaping events?
Well, I'm homeschooled until grade 9.
Really?
Yeah, I was in elementary school until grade 2. Supposedly, I was really bullied by one of my female teachers who was like a middle-aged lady, more than middle-aged. She was like 60 back then. I've suppressed it. So I guess that's how bad it was because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But my parents pulled me out of school, so I tried to go back in grade 6, but I was super unsocialized. Like I played sports, I've done things in community base. But I went in grade 6, didn't really work out. One of my friends, who's still a friend of mine now, but he broke my nose or he sprained my nose on my birthday, gave me a punch in the nose. So I just dropped out after that, and then waited 3 more years, came back to high school in grade 9. So I've really been it's interesting not being socialized, so I'm very lucky I can do this. I'm talking with people. That's a skill that I've developed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that shows how many things you naturally learn as a kid, like learning languages. You don't know that you're learning it, you just do it.
This is
and
my
if you're
space,
like
my
adult,
bubble.
yeah, and if you're like an
Yeah.
adult, you have to actually learn those things. So that's that's an amazing example for it. Like as a kid, you just do it.
Yeah.
There's another kid, let's play. You
Yeah.
know, let's do something.
You learn about when not to hit them, but there's a little tap. Like you learn it. What's the bending, the hitting?
Yeah.
The girls a whole different thing too, and like that social thing. Like
Yeah.
it's very complicated. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
In BC, you have to give me some more. I'm more of a question. Question brings out answers
Okay,
in a
okay.
way.
So you're originally from Summerland?
No, I'm from Nelson, and then I raised there till grade 5, and then we moved to Summerland, which we still live at. So the last 21 years, I think, something like that. 20, turning 25. Yeah, it was nice.
So there was never the drive to say, okay, I want to, because you came to Kamloops, which is not like that far from home.
So I'm traveling since. So I tried to live in Kelowna for a bit, and then I started working 2 jobs at Subway. I worked at Subway before, and I worked at Subway, and I worked at Starbucks. And I'm working like 45 hours a week for like 3 weeks. Like this is, I'm not gonna swear, but this is awful. I don't want to do like this menial job. I don't know where I'm going with my life, so I came home, went to school. I started applying a bunch of places. Got in. I messed up on my applications to all my other universities, but there's a lot of extra steps at other universities. But I got into TRU. So I came up here in 2014. I had a girlfriend over the summer before I came to TRU in Montreal, and so I actually applied to go to Concordia. Went to Concordia in 2015 for about a couple. I moved in July of 2015, and then lived there. Isolated, terrible in its own sense because I didn't know anyone in the city. Went to the school with my first year done, and they're like, "Yeah, we accepted you with your schooling at TRU for your first year, we've re-looked at your application. We think you should just restart your first year. And I'm like, what? I'm not doing a whole nother year just to go to school in Concordia.
That
So I
doesn't make sense.
came back in September 22nd, the final day for drop classes at Tier U.
Yeah.
I tried the move away thing, it just didn't work.
That's weird.
yeah.
Like that they would go like, oh, we didn't check it the first time, but now that you're here,
When you
might
think
as well
about
just start it.
administrations, though, it makes a lot more sense. Terrible. I've read a book by Malcolm Gladwell, though, which called, I think it's David and Goliath, and he says a statement which is, it's really beneficial to be in a location where you're a big fish in a small pond rather than a big fish in the ocean. Concordia's way bigger, and like I'm not very smart in comparison to like really smart people, but at TRU I'm decently smart. But in Concordia, just be some random guys. Like there's an issue going. If you go to Harvard, people have a lot of hardship going to Harvard because like you're
have
an
to be
idiot
so amazing
compared to the smart people.
Yeah.
So there's been benefits of being at TRU and all that for travel. Yeah.
So are you trying to say TRU students aren't that smart?
I think TRU students are a good stepping stone for their life in the future. Yeah.
So what about like the next step? Like after you graduate, do you plan on staying
BC?
I'm hopefully applying for officer training in the Canadian Forces, and if I don't get into officer school, I want to do avionic technician or avionic technician or mechanics, because that's a trade you can learn while fixing planes or using the tech in planes. I'm not gonna get shot, which is kind of nice, and I'll pay for my master and PhD. And there's some really benefits of teamwork, skills, staying healthy in my early 30s, and just the discipline that the Army gets you through.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That's good.
Hopefully.
Good.
We'll see.
I think the army would be great. I would love to see you.
You love to see me in the Army?
As an officer, I think you have
Hey.
that the intellect and
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I gotta be able to run the 5-minute mile or whatever it is. I'm on my way.
Okay, I'm out. I'll drink
I'm on my
with
way.
you.
You gotta quit smoking first. Hard as hell.
No, I love the army life because I was raised, my dad is in the army.
Okay.
And like growing up, traveling around the country.
Yeah, but you have to like that. I mean, you have to be the person to like that because, like you said, you're not like that person who likes to be socialized.
I might have liked it.
everywhere,
But I feel like that's
Why,
actually one of the reasons how I got so exposed because India is a country, which has different countries within it,
It's like the United States when I think of India. There's multiple provinces, but they're completely different,
Yeah.
but they can kind of get along.
Yeah, but like in India, it's like so many states they still are working for their own independent status. They want to be a separate country because their people is different, their language is different, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Right? And just being able to live in those places, I got so exposed to like meeting people from different.
Yeah.
And that's how it shaped me as a person. Like wanted to know more about like the other side of the, the hedge. What's the side like outside of it? I want to know like I know. So yeah. So I have great admiration for people like who live in that kind of a lifestyle where they get to.
But for me, it was always normal because my parents moved from Germany to Portugal when I was 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you imagine Portuguese people, and that's just the fact. They're just like shorter, they're like dark hair, and that was me.
Aryan
Tall
race.
blonde. No, I was like the tall blonde, and even though I hated it, I would always. My mom told me I would come home crying. I was like, Mom, can I please dye my hair brown because I look so different? Because everybody just, the grandmas would come. Oh, your hair's so pretty. As a kid, you're like, oh, get your hands off me, like, And it was just normal for me because I wasn't excluded. Like everybody was really nice, but I could feel it that I'm different. But just to see that people are not treating.
Look how that's
Yes, and I learned that just because you're different doesn't mean that you can't belong to a different culture. And then when I moved to Canada, which is like very different than the Portuguese like mentality and stuff, it was tough because it was the last year of middle school. Oh my gosh, kids can be really mean at that age.
Monsters.
Oh my
Monsters.
Savage.
And I came here and I was lucky because in Portugal you love to play soccer. So I was pretty good at soccer. So that was like my however you say that, into like a little bit of a group of friends. Because I could play soccer, so in the team you just get your friends and everything. Because at school it would be so difficult. I remember my first day. I got one of the girls who had to like volunteer to like show me around and show where stuff is. On the second day, she didn't even look at me. Because it was like, I had to just, because my teacher asked me to show you around, but after that she had her friends, and I'd be like, hi, and she's like, oh, hi, and then turn around and go to her friends. I was like, okay, I see there's no interest at all.
Same here.
To actually, like, the first day was just because my teacher said, and then she would, like, bring me to the class, oh, yeah, that's the Vanessa, your new, like, roommate, and I thought, oh, she's so nice, she's introducing me to the friends. After that, never spoke to me again, like, kind of that thing. And, I was just happy that I had like the soccer, which I was skilled, but that's the thing. If I wasn't really skilled at it, like really good, I wouldn't have made it into the team, which means I would have been like, it would have been really tough for me to actually get into a group of people and meetings, so it's very hard. That time here in Canada was really different, because in Portugal, nobody cares. You're just the neighbor. They invite you, your family, your cats, your dogs, and you just come over for dinner. They don't know you. They just ask you a bunch of questions, and you're part of like the community. And it was so different. Just getting used to that was like, oh, where did I end up here? I mean, it was nice because it drives you to be good, but it's like a very different mentality than Portugal. So
I've always heard that's one of the hardest things about making new friends. Like when you move somewhere, is not necessarily meeting new people, but meeting new people that are looking for new friends. Like, yes. Because I moved to Kamloops not knowing anybody. Like, nobody. And I later found out actually I do know one guy that lives here, but still. Like, you move to a brand new city, everybody, they have their group of friends, they do their things, but most people aren't looking to add another person into their group of friends unless you happen to find, nice people that don't care if you tag along, and then,
you have a hobby already in place. You're a soccer player and you want to join a men's league or a women's league, right? Or if you're a D&E player, if you're a computer guy, if you want to get into those, you have to have a hobby that's you that you can hopefully find a group on.
But you still have to be good at it, because otherwise they won't even take you to the team.
D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
There's ways.
Different. I'm just saying like sports.
There's basic ones though. There's easier leagues. There is levels.
Yeah, but in school, it's not really like.
We just moved here. I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
School.
Yeah.
I'm just saying making friends. Making friends is talent too. That's a skill you have to learn.
Oh yeah.
I can make friends if I want to, but it's a lot of work. Like, I almost give up unless I feel a connection with people. I don't really want to make friends. I had someone over last night, which I've known him for a bunch of years. Like, he's an interesting guy, but like. We had a conversation. We're drunk as hell. But I was like,
those are the best.
I'm not sure. We're talking about like, yeah, you're my friend, Michael. I'm not sure if you're my friend. I think you're really interesting, but like being a friend, like I'm gonna put work into this. I like hanging out. We're drinking tonight, but it's not right. I find you guys. I know you enough. But like I find you two friends. Like I come out here to hang out with you guys. I think this is cool, and I'm down to. What are you up to? What's life? But
you can be yourself.
But that's also the difference, like expectations. I remember like last year when I came here, because of the experience that I've had in Canada, my expectations were different. So I didn't come here thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make friends for life, which were my expectations back then because I actually moved here. No, but that's the thing. If you don't come here with that expectation, you get surprised by people who actually care. But if you come here thinking, oh my gosh, the first person that's actually interested in me and talking to me, that's gonna be my best friend, and then like a week later, they don't give a, and then you're just so devastated. So I feel like, because that was that first time that I came here, because I thought I was gonna live here longer. The friends I met back then, I had the expectation to actually be friends with them. So to have the expectation, okay, I come here, let's meet the people, let's see, but I don't have, because I knew I was going to be here for 4 months, I didn't have that expectation, oh my gosh, who's going to care when I leave? And then I'd rather have that. Yeah, but I'd rather have that and then have like 3-4 people who are like, when I came back and actually got a text message, oh my gosh, I miss you, we went here and I thought about you. That's way more special than if I would have left and thought, why didn't this person text me? And just that way. So I think it has also a lot to do with expectations that you have.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Talk to my mom, Maggie. She's got to get rid of her expectations. Why are her expectations so high?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's the only thing that puts pressure on you.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Truth
Yeah.
be told.
But like for me, that was actually the reason why I wanted to come to Canada was because I was I had read all about like people from this country and like different countries' culture, what language they speak, what are the capitals of that country, you know. So I could like, and I had a plan in my head. I didn't know what that job would be, but I knew like I wanted to do something where I could use all that knowledge, you know.
Yeah.
And I was always so like excited to like one day I'm gonna meet somebody from this country and talk to them about like these things that I've read about in the
Yeah.
country. And being an RA gave me the perfect opportunity to be able to use that,
Yeah.
right? And that's why every time I checked in people, I was like, oh, so where are you from? And like, she said she's from Germany. I'm like, oh, are you from like Berlin or Munich? Or like,
Yeah.
and if they would say a totally different name, I'd still have some vague idea about it. And even for them, they felt that oh, like this person
You
knows
care, you
about
know about my content. I'm in the same boat as you when I think about knowledge of things.
yeah, like and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I got to use all of that. If I knew bits and pieces about their language, like even if it was just a hello in their language, I would say that and they would be like happy to hear it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the kind of person I was.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like it was during my check-ins. I'll be honest about it. All my friends that I've made up till this point has been because I met them when I checked them in, and I got that initial spark from them. Okay, this person seems like the kind of person who I would like to hang out with. You know, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up making friends with them. They made me introduce me to like friends of theirs, and that's how it was. So I'm really fortunate that I got to work as an RA.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like I can say I have friends from every continent.
Mehak, best RA of 2017.
No, really, like it's been a wonderful experience. Like I've had
Fantastic.
so many amazing memories. Like it's been the best. Yeah.
But I think that's also like what I was saying, the expectation. So it was good for you to know all of them.
Yeah.
But if you would have expected that, for example, if a lot of them were like from abroad, like how many are you still in contact with?
Yeah.
So if you have the
That I had to
expectations
really
that
narrow
each
it
of
down.
them
How
that
many people
oh
maybe
yeah, it was
Enjoy
so
the experience.
nice, and now that they're gone, like if you have the expectation, okay, I want to learn them, I want to learn about them, that's fine. But if you have the expectations, we're gonna be friends forever, I'm gonna visit them everywhere, then you know that's where you get
And
disappointed.
I think it's like I say it very openly. I think every person, every human being cannot have a big group of friends in their
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Like they can be acquaintances, like once in a while you can meet like for an event together. But when it comes to having like friends you can speak your mind to,
Yeah.
you can just like text them any time of the day or night.
Hand them out.
Like it's always just
You can talk about your feelings, but the ability to start random baloney, I'm trying to swear, but like random baloney with, like, my best friend right now is my roommate, luckily enough, Care. Like, because I can talk to him about anything. And when I go on rambles or I'm turning into an asshole, I'm not swearing, but I am an asshole in certain ways, and he's allowed to, like, shut me down for being that kind of person or just
Yeah.
checks me, and I respect his decisions. Respecting is a big thing about real friendship. You can tell your emotions to anyone, especially when you have a couple of these.
Yeah.
But like having someone you can respect their response to what you're trying to tell them,
Yeah.
and they'll respond to you. You respect
That's
them.
true, but I think
vibe, right? Like I got that vibe from you. That's
Yeah.
why I chose. Like I'm only in contact with a few people that I met like throughout my 2 years of being here, like who came from different countries. Yes, I'm not in contact with a lot of them, but I still kept in touch with them because I always felt that comfortable vibe. You know, I could just say whatever I wanted.
yeah, because so it's more the feeling that you have with them and not the time that you actually spend with them. For example, I have a friend back home which we went to school together like for the 3 or 4 last years that I actually had in Germany, and we live like 2-3 hours apart, and we see each other maybe every like 3 months maybe. But when we meet, it's like chit
you ever
chatting
saw?
all the time. Yeah, it's just like, and I know if something happened or if I needed, I could always call her. But in between those meetings, we might not even text once.
Yeah.
But as soon as I know, okay, I'm gonna go home, I'll text her, hey, are you free? She'll look like her things around so she's free, and then we talk. So it's not about, oh, I text her every day and I talk to her every day, and you know.
High school attitude.
That doesn't matter at all. Like with you guys,
no, like,
you know,
you
it doesn't
cannot
have to be once a month maybe, and
You
then
cannot
you
be
still
like
feel
texting
connection.
on a regular basis, but when you do, you pick up right from where you started. You don't even care about like
And
the
on that, thank you for inviting me out again,
Cheers.
Beck, and thinking about me to invite me out to this, because I did want to see Vanessa. Well, thank you for thinking about me.
I mean,
Done it.
I always knew that, you know, like we always had like a small group of people that you know were always hanging out, and you were one of them. So I thought, yes, why
Thank
not?
you.
Like
Perfect.
she's here, and it's my duty to make make sure that you know that.
That was also like something that I thought when I came here. I was like, okay, am I gonna like text everyone? Maybe they don't really care.
We're busy
maybe they,
and so much
exactly,
stuff.
they're busy. So that's why I like through social media, gladly that we have social media nowadays. You know, I just posted I was coming here, so everybody who cares and who sees, oh, she's coming here and knows, oh, I have time, I'm off, you know, can always text me. But me being like, okay, I know this person, I would like to see all of them, but you know, I'm not gonna put it on them. Oh, I'm here, do you have time? Because that's like putting pressure on them. Oh, they have to see me. But if I just say, you know, in general, okay, I'm in Kamloops, everybody who's interested, you know, can just come up and then just have a beer, even if you just texted me, oh, I would have loved to come, but I'm so busy with my midterms. At least I would know, okay, that, you know, he saw that I'm here, and he cared, and he texted me. And that would have been enough for me to know, okay, you cared. And not, oh yeah, I made like 5 hours of time to like talk to you. That message would have been enough for me to know, okay, there's an interest there. Sometimes that's enough.
That's enough.
It's romantic in me, but it's all about the effort, not about the objective. The buying cheap flowers because you only have $5 in your account is better than saying, well, I didn't have enough money for some nice flowers, so I didn't do it. The effort is what matters. In friendship too, it's a romantic friendship. It's love. It's something you have. You know.
See, I love to share beer. Oh no, you're not gonna.
What the hell? Never driving into the Enchanted Forest ever again. That's it.
That was nice.
Yeah, like even for me, my time is gonna come to an end. This is my last semester, and I often like wonder, like I think to myself, who are those people who are actually gonna remember me? Like after I'm done
I'll
with
remember you, Mehak.
life, like how many people are gonna make the effort? And it's that effort that counts. People who make the effort, even if we can't meet, but just that effort will make me realize, okay, this person cares. You know?
It's a hardship though too, because I'm terribly. Like, one thing I've learned through growing up through my like I've traveled a lot actually. Like I've done a lot of traveling. I've gone to like every city in BC. I've done a couple of youth camps, so like I met people across BC. I've flown out to Ottawa for like Canada national stuff and all that. I met people like across the country and around the world. Like I understand that I just don't talk to them anymore, but I enjoyed the experience I had with them. And they're still deep in my heart, some of those people, but I'm not always contacting them.
That doesn't mean that they weren't friends.
Well, not even that, but I mean, just like, I'm just more on her point. Like, I'm probably might not respond to you for maybe every couple of years, but I'm not going to be in that hope every year once a message.
If I ever come back to Kamloops,
of course.
Like,
or if I'm in the area, wherever you are, of course.
Like,
it's in my head to message you.
That would really mean a lot.
And I think it's also very, like, a big, like, age thing. Because you have so many like friends where you're in school, because you know you were put together in a class or whatever, and then with our age, like me coming here, we chose to be friends. We didn't have to be friends. It didn't matter, but we wanted to. So it's more likely for us to stay in contact than people that you know you were forced to be friends with because you were in a class or because you were in sports or whatever. So that was a nice time with them, but it doesn't mean that there was like a common interest for the future. So I think that's also a big difference.
I'm gonna say this is super cool.
Wait, we don't have to be friends, is what you're trying to say?
I
think that's what I think of that.
You can leave if you don't want to be friends.
Well, alright, well.
Thank you for joining us. This is the whole point of what my podcast wants to be. Like, we started with climate change. I think that we started with climate change. We went into friendship, and we got deep into both of those topics, and we're just talking about random stuff, and it's going in that direction, and that's the direction I want my podcast. And again, with you messaging you, that's kind of what I really want this podcast to be, because I want this podcast to be going on for a decade from now, where I can message friends who are not here anymore, and people I want to keep in touch with, and that would be my way of saying, hey, how's it been? Do you want to be on my podcast? It's been like 2 years since we've talked, or 5 years. What are you up to? And this that relationship is exactly what this is all about too.
Yeah, maybe go back
really
to the old podcast.
Or
Okay,
will.
what were we talking? And then, okay,
will.
last time we ended on this topic. So how did that develop for you?
And that's the whole idea. And you keep friendships. You make new friendships. This is a friendship tool for people that aren't my friends who might come on my podcast. And if I enjoy the podcast, they'll be on it for a future date, and that will solidify new friendships. This is my hobby now.
Maybe they
if
can
it is.
relate and be like, hey, I have exactly the same experiences. I have friends, and now I know maybe how they
I have
might
friends,
think about
thank gosh.
it. No, but how
I
how
know
they
those
might think about it. Maybe we gave them some other perspective.
That's
that
the goal,
it doesn't
too.
have to be like, oh, she didn't text me today. Is she not my friend again?
Well, that's the point. The third person, the listener's right here, right now. They're sitting at the end of the table, just listening. That's
How
the
many
goal.
beers did you have?
Like honestly, like for me, this whole experience is about the underlying fact is that if I ever go to Germany, I'm sure I'm gonna let her know I'm there, and she will make the effort to like host me in her home country, and I would do the same for her and you.
Of course.
Like of course I would.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Carry on.
You
Oh.
still gotta get
Sleep on my mom's futon, man. It's all yours.
For me, it would be such an honor. I would be honored to do that. It would give me that gratitude, that feeling. Oh yeah, it's time for me to show my country now. And I'm gonna do it to the best.
And it's important. Like, I wouldn't be able to do all the stuffing that I'm doing now if I wouldn't have the friends in the different countries. I mean, I'm not rich. I couldn't afford to be like 1 week hotel everywhere I go. If I didn't have friends there, I could say, hey, can I crash on your couch? Or like, can I stay at your place for a bit? It wouldn't work out. And
Yeah, exactly.
that's why if you guys would come here and I would say, hey, you can crash at my place, or I know someone, or whatever, that's how you make it work. Because none of us is rich, I guess, that, you
no.
can do stuff.
And back to the British Empire, we are all speaking in English, which
Yeah.
allows multiple cultures around the world,
Yeah.
even though they were dirty colonizers. We can communicate from India to Germany, Jewish Canadian, whatever, Polish Canadian. I mean, we speak English, and we can communicate. We don't
That's
have
how you do it.
Beauty of language.
Yes.
We can all.
Could have been any language, but we got give credit due to credit's gains.
Yeah.
Okay, now I gotta go.
Au revoir.
Actually, me too.
Bon appétit. Cool. Hey,
Hey,
how's it
going?
going?
Oh, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Wow.
I just subscribed to your podcast. Little.
you find it?
Yeah, well, 'cause I'm friends with your roommate.
It's true.
So, and he posts the links all the time. So it's
Cool.
like,
Hey, Derek.
subscribe.
Hello.
How's your day going?
It's going.
Wow.
That's-
I get that. You want some beer?
I wish.
I know.
Don't tempt me.
Is there cameras in here?
No, they aren't.
Well, you're on a
But-
podcast, so you're under arrest.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Birds and Bots.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's cool.
You not listen to it? Are you even
I
my
haven't
friends?
listened to it.
Wow.
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 That's the concept.
Wow. Well, you're on it, so that's good. It's on. Welcome to the Birds and Bots.
And then she climbs up. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Au revoir. What kind of IT did you do?
Mostly server administration
Cool.
and networking. So yeah, like I said, I worked at a cloud provider, and
We're on the hardware background then, I guess, not the software.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, hardware. Like I mean, obviously, I learned a bit of software development in school, like high school and BCIT. But yeah, no, I'm a hardware server administrator. Kind of administer like Windows, Linux, all
So
that.
my dad does. Well, I mean, he's an administrator for my mom's company and does a bunch of other little things. But
Oh.
he's the administrator as well of that kind of background for the
Yeah.
IT on that.
Yeah. I mean, like I've dabbled in a lot, like, 'cause I actually used to run a web hosting company,
Oh,
just
cool.
myself, kind of thing, just
Nice.
a little,
Yeah.
rented server, whatever.
Yeah.
And like a few people, they approached me and they're like, hey, we don't know shit about computers. We know you're doing this thing. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I've already sweared.
Oh, anyways, so actually it was interesting because, like, designing business websites. So I had one girl approach me, and she wanted to do an erotic maid service.
Why'd you bring your backpack? You doing girly stuff in the washroom?
Ew, grody.
Touching up your makeup scars? No, not that girly thing.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
Anyways, we can clip this part out, right?
There, the viewer. Life happens.
Yeah.
Just have a drink or two and you forget about it.
Don't just be like.
Dude, they've been killing it. You got it too.
Crush it.
If we've been killing it, she would master.
No, Terica's the goat. Oh, look at these thugs. To be 19 again. Right?
Yeah.
With a wild group of Canadians come in.
Yeah.
You'd sense it. I'm finally away from my mom. If there's any psychologist listening to this, and I keep saying my mom, I'm sure I'm getting psychoanalyzed instead of my dad.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's gonna leave soon, so maybe we just leave and then she'll catch us there.
Crash me outside?
No, because we wanted to go to
Awesome.
Fox and Hounds, right? And it was looking like she was gonna get off soon, but it doesn't look like it anymore.
Do you want to eat chicken wings?
Yeah, well, tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Why Fox and Hounds instead of here?
Because that was the first time when we all went out. We had 3 drinks. We had 3 drinks for Ice and the gin tonics, I remember, and then we went to Fox and
Can
Hounds.
you believe the pre-party we had to go to Fox and Hounds was actually the
Party.
Well, if you guys want, I got G&T at my house. I want G&T's.
No, it was just about the whole
Why can't I? I
experience,
actually
you
kept my
know.
roommates up all night. Never mind.
But
Never
you're
mind.
still free to come to Fox's with us.
Oh,
I mean, you already started, you know.
I know.
Conversation.
Also, I will probably come, sadly enough.
Yay!
I'm sorry, Rob! 2 midterms, 2 papers, and so much reading. Actually, I hate reading. I use an audio reader. So, like, it's so intense. Let me I don't know if this will... I'm going to pause the video so I can do it.
Kind of.
What's wrong with blonde beer?
Okay.
It's bitter? Isn't it light?
So it has like a weird taste.
Oh, no. I thought it had a
now
different
you
blonde.
pretend you don't
I thought it was a different blonde. That's a weird blonde. Who makes that? Oh, what? I've had the red collar blonde. That doesn't taste like reds.
How old
Are you sure
is
it's not iron? It's not Iron Roads?
How old is the cake?
It's not Iron Roads?
It's red color.
It tastes weird. I used to drink blondes from there all the time.
How old is the cake?
I don't know. That tastes weird. Whatever. Anyways, because I'm recording, so I want to try and explain it because I just went through the 250 pages and see if I actually know anything.
Alright.
So the first section is around England Parliament and how the Puritan Revolution overthrew the monarchy, which allowed the nobility class to use the peasants push towards industrialization around the 17th century or 1700s, not century. But the revolution in France was actually far more radicalized because the nobility had a lot of issues in the way it worked with the king and their own monarchical system. It was all different in politic issues. The last chapter section was on the American Civil War, which they actually considered as the actual revolution, because the American Revolution wasn't actually a revolution in definition, because nothing really changed. All that changed in the revolution was that there's just a new government.
Yeah.
But they didn't change their philosophy. They still use capitalism. They still use the same system as British. They didn't change their new system in a revolution.
So it's just like a coup, basically.
It was a coup to make a new country.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the chapter I just finished was on China. Well, why did China move communism? Well, China didn't have working class. They didn't industrialize at all. The peasants, there's a lot of warlords throughout China, so it didn't have that same top-down approach towards. There wasn't an emperor in China, but he didn't have the same kind of idea that the King of England or like the powerhouse of the other countries had in other European countries. And the peasant class was a lot more scattered throughout China.
Yeah.
And the reason it moved to communism was more based around the events that come along with when the Kuomintang, which was the party that's now owning Taiwan, but the they fucked up so badly when trying to reorganize China that the communists came in through and they did a better job of appealing to the peasants because the communists realized you had to turn the peasants into working class, you had to turn the working class into the revolutionaries, but you had to turn the peasants into this useful organization.
Yeah.
And that's where I am right now.
That's exactly what I studied for my entrance exam. So I applied for Masters in East Asian Studies
Cool.
at Delhi University, and
Yeah.
I got it.
Really?
Yeah, but I had to give it up because my dad wouldn't allow me to live and study in Delhi because it's supposed to be a very
Delhi
not
boys.
so safe city for girls, and that's something I
Conservative.
cannot argue with coming from North India because it is like
Shots fired,
I'm
Delhi.
sorry, India, but you gotta work on your safety for women.
You guys are fucked.
So yeah.
It's okay,
And he
man.
was like, you
It's
know
okay.
what? If you wanna experience like living on your own, just go abroad. I was like, okay, that's far better for me then. You know, like I would love to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I studied all about that
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
East Asian studies.
You know Rob Hanley,
What the hell?
the teacher I'm working for right now. He's an Asian study specialist, and like China course I did with him. It's like he's really. If you want to just shoot the shit with him, he's a really smart, interesting guy, and he specializes in corporate social responsibility in China or in Asia, and how you can make Western values of corporate social responsibility spread out. But he's a really Asian specialist, so it's really interesting. Yeah.
It would have been cool if I had gone into that master's. I would have been one of the requirements to be able to graduate that master's program was to learn to speak either Chinese Mandarin,
Yeah.
Korean, or Japanese.
Cool.
Because those were the three countries that I was in.
Should have picked Mandarin if we did.
Of course, I would, because it's like the most widely spoken language.
Yeah.
And it's on the path. I mean, like, Korea's doing really well, so is Japan, but I think if you don't learn Mandarin, it's like not learning English when
Yeah.
you had the chance. It's the coming up.
Mm.
Under
Yeah.
President Xi.
Yeah. But actually, I'm curious, like, have you guys heard about all the development China's doing in Africa?
Oh yeah,
Yes, a lot.
totally.
I'm curious how much of that, like Chinese culture, language, and stuff like that, is going to spread to Africa now.
China is the. I mean,
It's not
I
a
don't
cultural spreader, though.
Well,
I
not-
think they're just like trying to like first establish their own like
Soft power.
product. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But still, I don't think they're very interested to put their culture in there. They just want to like.
I think
It's
they're
more
more
economical.
interested in being called a superpower. You know that America
There's
kind of
in there.
I
There's in there.
think, and a lot of people have sided with that. A lot of researchers and academics, they actually have already predicted China's going to be ruling.
Oh, yeah.
And
There might be a war. That's for my paper. I did a paper on the. I didn't agree with the thought, but I used the paper idea. Like, if China continues down the Xi Jinping path of not hiding one's ability, instead of Dao Zhongping's hide one's ability and hide one's passion. That's not even the right quote, but it's in the idea of the right
Yeah.
quote. But Xi's all like nationalism, all that. There's actually a lot of issue with America that China's being really aggressive now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you look through America's history, or any hegemon, which is the main power's history, there's usually a conflict will arise if your coming up power starts acting aggressive rather than sneaking through.
Yeah.
So like if China stays aggressive at the pace, we might see U.S. interventionism.
I
and all
can't
these
see
other
the U.S. intervening, especially with them now and their whole nationalistic stance and how they're
Trump
stepping
lasts
back.
8 years, man. It's not that long.
But then you see a lot of resemblance to the way China and America, like how America in the past and now present have been doing, like when it comes to like meddling in foreign affairs,
Yeah.
how they do it. China's kind of doing that. Like
Oh, yeah.
there's this like
Mhm.
set of islands in the South China Sea.
Yeah.
It's called the Diaoyu Islands. That
Like the
Japan,
Ryukyu as well, or Raikou. They have their different names. I remember the two names. I didn't remember the one.
Like so Japan says it's part of their country, but
Yeah.
China's like it's ours, and
Yeah.
they're really aggressively pursuing
Yeah.
that. They're
Oh, yeah.
making sure
Yeah.
that we take in as many, like things that we can, and they're doing that. You see that resemblance with
Yeah.
American tactics, and the same they're doing with the Silk Road. They're
Oh,
building
yeah.
a new
Two.
Yeah.
In
Up.
Pakistan.
Through Pakistan, through Ukraine,
Yeah,
also through the
They're
ocean.
doing the
And
ocean
that's
one, and
exactly, and the
yeah.
same with Africa. So don't you see, like, like America doing the same with like maybe Middle Eastern affairs?
But democracy and neoliberalism is the only way to go.
Yeah.
Who needs authoritarianism?
Yeah, even in India, like the city that I was born
Yeah.
in northeastern India, it's called Along. It's a very remote town. My dad was posted there because my dad is in the paramilitary. The paramilitary forces, sorry,
Calm down,
are,
calm down.
they're always like posted in like the conflict areas of the country, the border areas like Pakistan, Kashmir, and the northeast. So the city that I was born in, if you go in China and you look at their map,
Yeah.
part of their country.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's a disputed land.
Yeah.
And they still show it. They don't give two fucks about it. They're
Yeah.
like, like, I'm sorry if I
Hey.
Yeah.
Watch your language
We're
here.
past that.
This is an alcoholic
we're
episode,
after,
everyone.
We're after 19.
Everyone is over 19.
Yeah. Good disclaimer. An hour and a half in. Yeah.
But it's really amazing with Tibet. If you look into like how many Tibetan monks in India, because India gave them the refuge, and the Dalai Lama is living in India ever since like he was ousted from Tibet. They all burned themselves in protest
Oh, yeah.
of like our land, like China took it.
Yeah.
They just took over it.
Yeah.
Because they're like a totally different language, culture, and everything is like different.
Yeah.
But that's
Oh, they're part of the 56 ethnicities of the Chinese Great Han race, as they would say.
And like, even with the like eastern part of China, the Uyghur people,
Yeah. Those
they're
poor
Muslims,
boys.
speak a different language, and even they're the Chinese. I
They're
don't wanna be,
Muslims.
like,
They're
I don't want to
Muslims.
like harsh
Offensive.
terms amongst the Chinese
A
people.
possibility of 1 in 5 Uyghurs or 1 million Uyghurs are in a re-education facility right now. Like right now, enjoying re-education.
Ooh.
But I don't
But
know.
I feel like it doesn't have to be like just because you're different. Like you said earlier, that was this one part of India that still wants to be independent.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah,
think
they-
like just because you have like a different way of speaking, or you still have the same history, so you're still part of that country. And just to try to cut yourself off from that, just to be special, it's just like for me, you're just like neglecting everything that was in the past just to be something because you think you can be better or different.
The
But you
past,
still can be different and still be from a big group or a big country.
the past
So
is being used as a catalyst to achieve what they can in the present. Like for example, Kashmir, Pakistan, and India, they both claim, like
Ownership. Yeah.
part of like the
Yeah.
area being part of their territory, and there was supposed to be a referendum where the Kashmiris would get to choose who they want to be with, India or Pakistan. That referendum never happened, and that's the whole reason of the dispute, right? But I have lived in Kashmir most of my life because that's where my dad was mostly posted. And I've talked to the local people, and they all don't care about India.
They
or
don't
Pakistan.
care. They
They
just
want
want their life.
Azad Kashmir. They want free Kashmir. That's what they want. They're like, we'll be self-sufficient. We want our own country.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they care about.
I think the danger would be, and then I'm not agreeing on this, but isn't Kashmir the location where most of the main 2 rivers in India come from? So that means there'd be water access stopping of dams through Kashmir.
Actually, there's supposed to be 5 main rivers in the north part of India, and 4 of them are in Punjab, the Indian Punjab.
But they start through the Himalayas through Kashmir, don't they?
That's just one river that
Just
goes
one.
through Tibet, Kashmir, and
Just
goes
one.
through the other part of North India. It's named something else in Tibet. It's called Sangpo, and in India, it's named as Brahmaputra. It's a very very like religious wise. It's supposed to be a river of like great spiritual like religious
Yeah.
It
importance.
smells vomit.
But it's just
It smells vomit for like a week.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's kind of weird.
like
Wash your hair.
that's
But
very
I don't know what it is.
Smell it.
Like,
It's weird.
I understand
Something
that
in my
you
nose.
want your own identity and you want to prosper as
Wash it.
you're a community, you all think the same, believe the same.
to like feeding somebody too much, like spoon feeding them too much. They get so like they take
Complacent,
complacent. They take so much of advantage of it. Like Kashmiri people, they've given so much of special rights in India.
Yeah.
The Indian government has really bent it.
That's what I mean, they don't know what it really means. They just see, oh, we want to be us and whatever, and they don't think about what it means, economy, like politics,
And care about
They don't
that.
care about
They
that.
forget about the fact how much Indian government is doing for them.
Yeah.
Like giving them like subsidized food rations and everything. Like normal Indian people don't have, they have to pay more than the Kashmiri people have to pay. And you choose to be on your own, try being on your own, you're
Yeah.
gonna fail. You're turning the military, that's like the blunder you're doing. You elect the wrong person who's supposed to be in power. Once they get into more power, they try to suppress the freedom of expression to be able to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine in Iran, before the Islamic Revolution took place, the Shah, the king who ruled that, it was the kingdom of Iran.
Yeah.
Women, when they were ruling, when they were living under the kingdomship of the Shah of Iran, they had much more freedom than after he was taken out.
Yeah.
Like when it became a theocratic, ruled by religion.
Yeah.
Like before, with the king, women could not. They were allowed to wear whatever they wanted. They didn't have to cover their head. But after he was taken out, the new government forced women to cover their head, their bodies. It just went backwards.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of those countries, they are not where like the Western countries are, but the Western countries, by thinking they know everything better, try to push with their power into their government, trying to like be corrupt, by the government for their benefits because they know that they're not as far as they are to take advantage. And just like we said earlier about the farmers and the people who buy stuff, the farmers just want to feed their people, so they will sell like whatever they have just to be able to do it. That's the same as the politics. They think they're going a good way just by accepting like Western standards, but that it doesn't work for their people because it's just like a different basis.
You have to
They
look
don't
at the
see that.
demographics.
Yeah.
You have to look at how
They don't
well
care.
is it gonna suit the people living in that particular area, the kind of culture they come from, the language
Yeah.
they come from.
But for the Western countries, that's a project. It's a project to help them. It's not like, they don't get it. That for those people, it's a big life change if they put a project on them trying to change their whole life. It's just weird. Okay, I gotta pee, no matter what.
Again?
You broke the seal, girl.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Gosh, I fought a lot.
No. Where's she going? Washington's this way. Thanks for the invite. I'm glad. Thank you for the invite. I'm glad I got to come out and hang out.
You have to. I can't forget that last.
My birthday, I think.
When was the last? When we all went to Carlos, remember?
Carlos, maybe.
Yeah, where you took that really like zoomed in picture.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can I take photos while I'm?
That was such a fun.
Is it recording? It is recording. This is the longest podcast.
Really?
Definitely.
We made a new record. Oh my gosh, don't think so.
Yeah, perfect.
No.
It's artsy though. It's artsy. Why is the flash on? Oh, whatever. That was a fun time though. I had a
Yeah,
blast.
I enjoy it. I haven't had this in a long time. See, I feel like I'm in my bachelor's degree when I actually studied political science. These are the kind of conversation I love having in my class with my professors, my classmates. When I came here, it was like total cut off. And that's the reason, I made so many friends in the beginning,
Yeah.
in my first year, thinking that, they're gonna be the same people, they're gonna share the same level of like conversations that I like to
Intellectual
have.
discussions.
Intellectual
Yeah.
discussions. And when they did not, and I was like, shit, like,
hard to find
it was
people.
just like, and then I slowly kept like decreasing my friend circle, and I'm here, this is my third year here, and I realized I only have like a handful of people that I can actually have a good conversation with.
That's good.
All
I know
those
what you
people,
mean.
they've just like, and sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, how was I friends with? Like, why
know
were
what you
I
mean.
hanging out with them in the first place? Like, that's something I could never, like, that's the kind of person I can't have a conversation with. It was just maybe just.
You just needed the emotional support. Like it's a hierarchy. You need people. You'll go crazy if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Like when I lived in Montreal, I had no friends for 2.5 months. That's what I became. I'm pretty sure my depression stems from my 2 months alone, and I didn't know anyone, and I was like going crazy.
Was it a language barrier?
No, I didn't know anywhere to do it. And, like most things were money based, so like I had to buy to do anything, and I just didn't. But like, it's hard. I made friends I went to a frosh week, and like I partied my face off drinking, but I made a lot of friends, and I had 140 friends on my Facebook in like 3 days. And like I enjoyed a lot of those people, and I still talk to some of those people today. But like, you need friends, whatever it is at the beginning.
And you need those friends so you can vent out whatever you're going through, like whatever you release, you need, like without them really judging you on it. That's actually a mark of like actually being a good friend. They don't judge you, like, and I've had bitter experiences in my past friendships here. Like, if I would be myself, if I would show a little bit of myself, they would judge me hardcore on it. They'd like label me.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
that's a big issue in general too.
And that would be a first sign for me to know that okay, this is not the person I should be hanging out with. Yeah. So, I don't regret those experiences I had because those were the experiences that made me, like, actually gave me an insight into the kind of person I was, which I could not, know about if I hadn't had those experiences.
Just posted this because I'm also getting really into Buddhism.
Every experience, no matter how bad it seems, holds within it a blessing of some kind. You know what?
Exactly.
My end goal is to become a Buddhist.
Yeah.
I want to live in the Himalayas, and I want to be a Buddhist. That's the life I envision for myself at the end. After like achieving all I have, because Buddhism is basically about getting rid of all your wants. Because wants are
there's a hard part in that though. Because I listened to a recent one recently. But you're trying to get rid of all your wants. But what you're really missing, you're not getting rid of the want to get rid of your wants. And that was actually a Buddhic issue that a guy had to deal with. Because he met the Buddha, and the Buddha said, or he asked the Buddha, how can I get through my life? I just have all these issues and all these issues. And the Buddha says, well, you just need to remove all your issues. So the Buddha was in town for the week, the man trained and removed all his issues. And he came to the Buddha a week later feeling so proud of his ability for being free of these issues. And then the Buddha laughed. That's fantastic, they've done that. So have you gotten rid of the want, to have the want that you wanted in the first place? The man realized he had not, and he started laughing with the Buddha because he realized his want to what the Buddha wanted was his own want of what he wanted. And that's a very ridiculous sentence, but it makes a weird amount of sense. That your want to be free of everything is a want you have to get rid of too, just to enjoy your experiences.
True. Actually, the tree under which Buddha sat was meditating for enlightenment. That tree is in India.
Yeah.
The
Buddha is Indian?
He was Indian.
Sorry. I know.
You ought to know.
He was a prince. He gave it all up. He gave his whole world up. Siddharth, Every time you know Siddharth, I always think Siddharth. That's how I always think of him. He's not Siddharth, though. He's a smart guy, but he's no Siddharth.
Sid was supposed to be here, but he didn't.
Here's an interesting question. I've known a couple of people, some Indian people have actually found quite spiritual when they came here, but I'm becoming, in a sense, Indian culturalized by becoming more Buddhic and culture and chakra meditation as well as yoga. But I've met a lot of Indians who might come here a little more spiritual, and then they become, if anyone knows the word, but they become Chads, which is like, yeah, bro, we're going to the gym, bro. And like, they used to be more spiritual. Like, yeah, bro, I'm Chad, bro. Let's go to the gym. Let's have some beers. Fuck some bitches, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's so weird. Like, that culture gets into them, and I'm like, whoa, it's weird. It's interesting. Have you noticed that at all?
I was, when it comes to religion, I was, no.
You need to have the discussion.
What other hot button topics do we have?
Mine is not going to be so like...
Climate change deniers?
No, seriously, I was raised in a Catholic, all-girls Catholic school.
Oh, wow.
And so that really shaped our girl.
She wasn't the boy. She wasn't a boy in Catholic school, at least. The priest left her alone.
The teen years, like from kindergarten till grade 12, I was like all...
Hold on. Like a little white dress and everything?
Yeah, like nuns and everything,
Nuns and everything.
Dangerous.
So like I got a lot of, like I was shaped up with that kind of an upbringing, like Catholic Christian upbringing. And there came a point in my life when I was in middle school when I started questioning, because that's the time being when I actually got really interested in learning about theology as a subject, like knowing the origins of all the religions that Abrahamic religions basically are all the same, right? They have the same beginning, the history. And then also like what I was born into. I was born into a Sikh religion, which is very closely related to Buddhism. If you
It's
see
a non-religion, but more of a
yeah,
practice.
but then today I actually challenge Sikhism. That is today because it has become a religion, which was not supposed
Wasn't
to
the
be.
point?
That
I had
was
to
not
argue.
the-
Yeah.
So I could actually be thrown. I could be thrown out of a. I could.
Do you want to give it a... Either you let the yeast bubble up. Keep going.
I
Sorry.
could be kicked out of my like religious temple if I become vocal about the things that I hate about my.
Oh yeah, get in there.
Zamboni!
So yeah, I have a lot of things to challenge like my people about like when it comes to Sikhism. But anyhow, that's besides the point. So that was the age, when I started questioning things and I got into the history of it, and then I was like, interesting.
This is not what they tell me.
And also, okay, I owe it to the kind of family I had. My parents have always been agnostics. Like they've not really been very religious. Like they believed in a kind of a spirituality, but they didn't believe in a.
Weird. Yeah.
But they didn't believe in a.
Smell this glass. Smell in it.
I think
Smell
it's
like
glass.
vomit.
Not vomit, but it smells different.
I don't know.
Like, here, smell mine. Is it the beer or is it your glass?
No, but the beer we all.
No, every couple of drinks I have, I smell like that smell, and I'm like,
Maybe that's just you.
I don't know,
feeling
man.
it. I'm remembering what happened last night.
And vomit. I just had a terrible hangover.
Okay.
Religion.
Sorry.
Yes. And.
A basic topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my family was not like
Das
a
Gutes.
believer into organized religion, but they were kind of spiritual, but like didn't believe in organized religion. So I had that freedom to choose to like be who I wanted.
Yeah.
And then for a long time I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God. Like I was like, no, fuck that shit. Like I was like the black sheep in my like extended family because everybody is like so religious. Like, oh, you're not going to our temple is called the Gurudwara. Like you're not going there, not covering your head. I'm like, what's the point of that? Like that's exactly why we created Sikhism, is to not worship anything. You're exactly doing that. And anyhow, then my family was okay with that. But later on, I kind of turned myself into being an atheist because I was so much into theology. I was like, yeah, I do believe in some sort of power out there, like spiritually. I'm a spiritual person, but that does not mean I'm religious. I'm not.
I've even moved to faith.
Yeah, like I was like that in India.
Yeah.
Coming here, I've been like, I haven't changed that status or anything at all. So yeah, maybe for an Indian that must be different because not a lot of Indians are like that. They're really shaped up by the religion that they're born into.
I think that's interesting. I'm glad you ended that by trying to answer my question because I don't know how you got on to talking about it. I was really enjoying listening to your story of how you shaped yourself. That was really cool in itself. I forgot that started by talking about Chads, Indian Chads. So thank you for bringing it
up.
up.
Look into the fact that because I traveled so
but
much.
maybe that's like the rebel situation that they have.
No, like, but really, this goes for every other country too. Like the fact that I was so exposed in my country because of my dad. So there was a time period when my dad was posted in South India, where Tarika comes from, and she agrees to this too. In South India, I experienced that people, the culture that they deemed correct there, like the simple fact of women wearing flowers on their head. So in South India, it's a ritual for women to wear flowers on their head. They do that. It's supposed to be a good thing. But if you do that same thing in North India, you'll be considered a prostitute. Do you look at it the same thing? The same cultural act that's taken as like normal in one culture is taken as totally different in another.
It's how you start a civil war, like the states. The slavery was allowed in one half and wasn't allowed in the other. Yeah. And that's not the only reason why the civil war happened, but that is that's that cultural difference is so much. There could be a split between India eventually.
So what is considered right in one place is considered wrong in another place. So what is considered right in that place might be considered wrong in another place.
But I feel like that is culture. So for me, it's, for example, the slave thing like left out because that was like pressuring something on somebody that didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But like with the flower, I don't know like the whole context of it, but I feel like that's what makes cultures is that for one place it's normal, it's something good, and in another place it's not. I think it starts to be critical when one side tries to pushes their like ideals of it onto the other and doesn't accept. Okay, we see it as something nice, they see it as something bad. We just leave it at that. If the ones that think that it's
Let 'em be
something bad try
slaves.
to push it
Let the
onto
slaves be slaves.
Yeah.
no, that's
I
what I'm
know.
saying. That phrase is not like the topic that I was thinking
I
about.
know.
But
I
if you know, like having a I don't know housekeeper who likes to work as a housekeeper, whatever is okay in that. Why should you like call it a slave in another place
Yeah.
if they want to do it, if they get paid, you know, if everything is right with that. So
Yeah.
I feel that's just culture. Because if you would press one ideal on everyone, whoa, it would be so boring.
That's
Like
where
this
I
world
say,
would be just like
you know,
one
if it's-
thing.
That's where I always like to use the saying that if it's not your cup of tea, you don't drink it. You don't tell the other person to not drink it just because you don't like it,
Yeah.
right?
Do you want some tea, Tarika?
Okay, let's stop this because I want to order food.
We don't want to hear the 13 items she's going to add. We're going to do a pause here and we'll come back in a bit, everybody. We're not just going to end the podcast like that. So we're awkwardly ending with whatever we said before I paused 15 minutes ago. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this ridiculous podcast tonight. And I look forward to episode actual 4. This is going to be episode question mark.
Really?
Au revoir.
Always